Welcome to Scars to Stars, where conversations and personal stories let us know we are not alone. In this show, you will meet authors and speakers from our books and events as they share vulnerable personal stories to spread hope and inspire you through adversities in your own life. The world is a difficult place. You will find like-minded people here with kind hearts and supportive souls. I am your host, Deana Brown Mitchell. I am a suicide survivor and the founder of the Realize Foundation. I am so glad you are here. Let's dig into this meaningful conversation. Hi everyone, it's Deana at the Realize Foundation. We have a really special episode today. We're going to talk about the Colorado Springs Health and Fitness Expo. And we have the founder here, Sandi Griffin, to talk to us about what this event is about and why she started it. So welcome, Sandi.
Thank you, Deana.
I want you to tell us the story of why you started this amazing event.
It actually began with our move to Germany as a family in 2002. My husband was active duty Air Force, and we had the opportunity to get stationed overseas. And my husband was a medic at the time. And so we spent the first 3 years of that tour, which ended up being 17 years altogether, at Longshore Regional Medical Center. And it was at the, shortly after that, about 3 years later was our tour. It was at the height of the war, and we were able to extend. During that time, started to understand what PTSD meant. My husband was in the hospital working in the ICU, in the ER, in the emergency room, and everything, with all of the buses of wounded coming in, and suffered PTSD himself with that, and the mental health issues with that. Fast forward a few years later, when I became a trainer, I was invited to be part of a medical team at the hospital that they had put together this incredible whole health person program for the special operations wounded that were coming in. And it was to focus on not just the injury getting healed, because it was far, far more than that. They really focused on nutrition, sleep, mental health, hydration, mobility, and then obviously the ortho, the PT, chronic pain management. I was invited to be the strength and conditioning coach. But for me to understand where these service members were at the point that they had started and that they had gotten to, that was an incredible learning journey for me to help them, get strong again as a strength and conditioning coach and get them on their way. But these are men and women that had traumatic brain injury, that had witnessed and had to complete missions that none of us should have to endure and experience, on top of a physical injury. And so as time progressed, just post-war, post that, the big piece of that war, we started losing service members. I remember one Christmas, one of the ER docs committed suicide. And we really started to recognize how mental health and physical health truly did go together. So when it was time for us to leave Germany in 2019, we came to Colorado. And at this time, within a year or two of living in Colorado, not only had we lost so many of our military friends, more than we could count, two of our children also had attempted suicide by this point. And as a mother, to think about losing your child and then children was completely devastating. And I thought, no other person should have to endure this or go through this if I can help it. And getting involved in the health and wellness space here also introduced me to the facts that we were really excited to move to Colorado because it's the fifth healthiest state in the nation, or ranks in the top 10 somewhere. I don't know what we are this year, but we are always in the top 10 healthiest state in the nation. We're Olympic City and Paralympic City, USA. We have year-round outdoor sports. However, we're number 7 in the nation for suicide rates. And El Paso County, where Colorado Springs resides, carries the burden of those numbers. And we have so many amazing resources here, but I think there was just an unawareness of what is available. There's a stigma around mental health. There's the fear of somebody finding out and judging you. And then sometimes you don't know where to start. If you're in crisis and you don't know that these resources exist, that's a hard time to try to find them. So as we lived here for a few years and started seeing the effects of suicide and mental health in our own community, not just the military community that we're a part of, but in the Colorado Springs community, I thought we've got to do something. I thought I love introducing people, I love educating people. So let's create this event that brings all the amazing things that health and fitness and working out and doing, going for bike rides, going for hikes and all that can do for a person's life. But let's also provide some life-saving resources with it. Let's involve the Suicide Prevention Partnership. Let's involve NAMI, let's involve some other organizations in our city that support mental health and are also trying to work towards making it a normal part of our conversation to say, I'm not okay and I need somebody to listen or I need some resources. So that's how the Colorado Springs Expo began. Um, Kind of an altruistic, just wanted to help our community. And I wanted to make sure that it was a purpose-driven event. So we make sure that we donate 100% of all of our ticket proceeds to the Suicide Prevention Partnership here in the city. And then it has grown to involve lots of other organizations to save lives in other ways.
That's awesome. I got the pleasure of being a vendor last year and understanding more about it and seeing the success of it, and it was really amazing, and I'm excited to be more involved this year, and I think what you've built is really amazing.
Thank you.
And I think that when people see health and fitness, they don't necessarily automatically understand the mental health part of it. And I think that's what's really amazing, because there's not too many events I'm aware of that do that.
Yeah. Well, and it's really cool because as we continue to grow, and have people like you as vendors who are incredibly passionate about mental health and recognizing people's stories. We all have a story. All of us have endured some type of a trauma in our life, whether it was from childhood, a car accident, service, being a
Mhm.
service member, whatever that looks like. Everyone has a story. And if we can embrace each other's stories and be willing to share each other's stories, that's how this starts and that's how we win.
I
So
agree. I agree. And so, talking about stories, we have a couple panels that are going to happen. Do you want to tell us the topics of those?
yeah, there's some really cool exams. And the panel you are on is one of the mental health panels, which I'm really excited about. We're going to be talking in partnership with Suicide Prevention Partnership, and Cass Walton, the director, will be facilitating a discussion on how important human connection is in the prevention of suicide and mental health crisis. We are humans, and we're never meant to be alone. We were never meant to do life alone. We were meant to be together. We're pack animals. Um, and just the human connection. And I think, technology has been a wonderful piece of our lives and given us so many tools and amazing abilities. But in the same turn, we have a lot less human connection than we used to. I think if you're looking generations back, just picking up a phone and calling somebody, we don't do that too often anymore. We text somebody. So knowing, seeing someone's face, seeing their expression, hearing their tone changes, they speak to you, all of that really resonates with us as humans. And there are really simple ways to connect as even strangers. We can make this really fun. We can make this very simple, non-threatening, whether you're an introvert or extrovert. So I think the connections discussion is probably one I'm really excited about. Actually, all of them I'm really excited about. Who am I listening to? So, and we're going to have some amazing panel speakers as part of this discussion. So, with pretty fantastic stories of their own. So, yeah, I hope people come out and listen to that for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too.
What are you most excited about that conversation?
I think that, well, human connection is part of our mission statement. So that makes me excited because I think when people are alone and isolated is when they, have the darkest times. And if they can find the courage to reach out and talk to somebody, I think it can change the outcome of whatever they're going through. I'm very passionate about that specifically, but I've also lived in all the mountain towns in Colorado. I've worked in all the ski resorts, and I believe that although Colorado is number 7 for suicide in the country, I think our mountain towns have some of the highest rates. They just don't add up to the state level because they're so small.
Yeah.
And I think the off seasons really contribute to that because, like, for me, I grew up in Louisiana and I've lived in 8 states. But when I moved to Colorado, I moved to Snowmass, and I loved it there. But I was very far from family. And during the off season, especially the first year, everybody always plans vacation during off season. But when you're new, you don't understand that yet.
Yeah.
And so then you're usually there during off season by yourself. Most of the restaurants and everything are closed. People are gone. And so it's kind of like a ghost town. And I think the other piece that plays into that is the winter because it gets dark so early. It's dark so much. And so I think that our mountain towns have a unique perspective about this than maybe, our bigger cities. And I think Colorado Springs is unique too because of the military population. So
Yeah.
it's a big problem, and it's a big problem everywhere. I mean, every 42 seconds somewhere in the world someone dies by suicide.
Yeah.
And I just have a mission in life to change that because it's not okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. What is your favorite way to connect with people, especially if they don't know you very well?
When I used to have an office in Denver, there were a lot of there was a lot of homeless around where I was in Denver. And just saying hello or just opening the door for somebody would change their whole day. And you could tell by their face. You could tell how much it meant to them just to do something simple. And so we talk about kindness a lot, and we talk about how do we start the conversation and how do we listen first, because people just need to be heard. They don't always want to talk about it, but if you give them the opportunity and they do talk, please just let them talk and listen and be an ear. And the other thing we talk about a lot is, like, don't immediately tell them how to fix something, because that's not helpful.
Yeah. Don't listen to answer.
Yeah.
Just listen. That's where just listen. You don't have to solve their problems. You don't have to have an answer for them. In fact, a lot of times that's not what they need. Just sometimes vocalizing things, we start to recognize, we hear our own voice and what we're actually saying. We're like, wait a minute. So sometimes we just need that moment. So
That's true. And I think just giving people permission to have the conversation is a big deal, because the people who want to support somebody don't always know what to say, and the people who are struggling don't want to raise their hand. And so it's hard to start this conversation. So we talk a lot about that in our organization, and how we can reach out to people, or if somebody crossed your mind, just text them, tell them you're thinking about them, ask them how they're doing, or those kinds of things.
I love that.
So my other question for you is, there's another part of this expo called Colorado Strong that is about a fitness competition. I can't talk today. So I want you to tell us about that part.
Yeah. So We last year, this is actually kind of funny how this fitness competition started. Well, first of all, I'm like, well, we're a health and fitness expo, so we should probably have something fitness related to this. Um, so this is always something I really wanted to do. But it was a attendee comment last year that really struck me and like pierced my heart. And we talk about being inclusive. We talk about making sure that things are accessible. We want to make sure that everyone is welcome, no matter where you're starting from. If you have no idea, like when I started my fitness journey, I didn't know the difference between a barbell and a dumbbell. Um, it could be somebody that's restarting for the umpteenth time and they just need the correct information and somebody to support them and be on their team as they walk through this journey again, or it could be an elite athlete looking for the next challenge. But we wanted to make this to where that it was incredibly inclusive. Um, at our event last year, it was our first year at the Great Wolf Lodge. So this was the first opportunity that we'd had to actually set up tables and see what the floor plan looked like. And we did the best we could with we didn't have an editable floor plan that was to scale. So we were making our best guesses with measurements we had taken. And when we got the event set up, we recognized some things right away that were not okay, and we tried to make those adjustments. But as we sent out the post-event survey, one of our attendees mentioned that one of the rooms was so crowded that she couldn't even get her stroller in there, and they weren't able to see those vendors. And what struck me is one, that we prevented a person from experiencing some really great businesses and great resources in that room. But secondly, what if it had been someone with a disability that was in a wheelchair, or an adult, parents of an adult child that had severe disabilities that needed to be in a wheelchair, and some of the wheelchairs, have to allow the person to lay down. And I thought, oh goodness, this is not okay. We talk about being accessible, and the building is accessible, but our event is not. And that struck me hard. And I'm like, we need to do better. On the on another part of that was, as we started putting this competition together, I thought, if we're going to make this accessible and we want to include everyone, if we make this fitness competition, it needs to be accessible too. And I really started thinking, how many competitions do I know of that I've seen advertiser brought to my attention that include wheelchair athletes? And I couldn't think of any. There might be some 5Ks, you can roll a 5K. Um, but I do not know of any competition that actually specifically has a wheelchair category to compete right alongside able-bodied persons. And I thought, well, let's give this a shot. And then adding to that, with the recent, would say, controversy in sport, especially with this past Olympics, our transgender community and non-binary community have not been given space either. We've identified there's a problem. We've identified that there's something that needs to be fixed with transgender athletes competing in cisgender sports. That's great, but no one has stepped forward to even try to look for a solution. No one has stepped forward to say, hey, can we try this? No one has stepped forward and said, these athletes matter, they're amazing, and we need to create a space for them to compete as well. And so started having a couple conversations and realized we can do this. Um, so our competition, which is like no other competition anyone's ever seen, we're using equipment and doing things that nobody else has ever done. Um, and we've got some great partners, Lions Lair Pro Gym, Physio Room, and CrossFit Falcon View are all helping us with that. And we've created a pretty sweet competition that our transgender, our non-binary persons, and our wheelchair athletes are all gonna, and our adult and our teen and our senior categories, all of those divisions are going to be on the same floor, competing in the same room together, supporting each other, and just doing some really cool stuff. So we're really, really excited.
Hi there, it's Deana. If you like our podcast and you're enjoying learning about other people's stories of overcoming adversity, please go over to therealizefoundation.org and support us by donating. We believe that conversations, community, and personal story can change lives and reduce suicide ideation. And we also have a way, if you have a business, you can support us without money out of your pocket. So go on over to realizefoundation.org and look at the donate page, and you can learn how to support us as a business, and also you can donate any amount. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I'm excited too. I wish I could compete, but I'm not there yet.
I know a great personal trainer.
I know. I just have to get my health back to normal first. But yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to work with you. So why don't you explain what you do for a living? Because everybody needs to know that too.
Oh, I torture people in my basement for money. I have the best job in the world. And I get to make them come at 5 o'clock in the morning before they even know what's going on because they haven't even had a cup of coffee yet. No, I'm a professional fitness coach, and I that began because I had let my health deteriorate to the point that I was on the fast track to a heart attack or stroke. And I had a friend. It was a myriad of things, but kind of the tip of the iceberg was the first thing was having my gallbladder removed when I was 33 years old, and the markers for that are female fat, 40, and fertile. And I was all of those things except I was 33 years old. I was not even close to 40. And that was kind of a wake up call, like, ooh, that's not good. But it wasn't enough. And I had a friend of mine who was 40 at the time, and I was 33. And we were both about 50 plus pounds overweight. We were both very sedentary. We both had high blood pressure that was not being treated. And her husband called me one night and said, um, she was in the hospital. They didn't think she was going to make it. She had had an aneurysm, and they believe it was because her blood pressure had not been treated. And he wanted me to be at the hospital with him because he didn't have anybody else to call. And I sat in the hospital that night going, this could be me if I don't fix my life. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to leave my kids without a mom or leave them with a permanently disabled mother. They were still really little. My oldest was, I think, had just turned 10. So I had a 7 and 8.5 and a 10-year old. And I thought they don't deserve this. And my husband doesn't deserve an unhealthy wife. He didn't marry me like this. Um, but I was at the point where I thought I was too far gone, and my mindset was actually, let me just gain 50 more pounds, and then I'll be a gastric bypass candidate, and maybe the doctors can fix me at that point. And that's how far gone I felt. I felt like I was lost. I felt like there was no hope for me, but I knew that I needed to change something. So I just started with small steps. Um, and it was the best decision I ever made. And by the way, my friend did survive, and she's amazing. She is disabled, but she just lives her best life with the new life that she has and has been given back. So she's awesome. Um, but yeah, I just got into this fitness journey and stumbling along and making all kinds of mistakes, and I knew nothing and figuring stuff out, and stumbled into the sport of bodybuilding, which was the best 10 years of my life. And through my transformation, people started coming up to me and saying, "Hey, can you help me too?" And I was like, "I barely know what I'm doing. I don't want to hurt anybody." So I thought, well, I'll take a personal training certification class just to make sure I'm on the right track and doing things correctly. Never intended to be a personal trainer. And people kept coming to me and coming to me, and I started helping people. And my husband's like, "You need to get paid." So became a personal trainer officially, and in 2009, and have just absolutely loved what I do. I can honestly say there has never been a person on my calendar that I'm like, oh, I have to work with them today. So I have been so fortunate to have just amazing clients that turn into some of my very best friends, and we've kept in touch for since I started some of them. So it's been one of the best careers I could have ever fallen into by accident.
That's awesome. And I learned some new things about you, Sandy.
I'm full of surprises, Deana. No, and it's been really cool. I had, like I said, the opportunity to work with our special forces members and active duty members in Germany. Um, got to do some amazing competitions during my career. Got to do the Arnold Spain and two Arnold Classics in Ohio, which was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. Then when we moved here, COVID happened, and I started building a gym in my house so I could keep training. And it was during my time in Germany, I established a relationship with the Olympic women's wrestling team. And their coach called me during COVID and said, "Hey, Sandy, can the girls come and train at your house if they sanitize everything when they're done?" I'm like, absolutely. So we had the women's wrestling team um, training at my house. And as I've had just amazing and incredible opportunities. And I think about, I fell into this by accident because, of all the little steps you take along the way. So
Yeah,
it's really been an incredible career and experience, and met some just truly awesome people.
that's amazing. Yeah, I got to do a lot of work at the Olympic Training Center and with US figure skating and stuff in my former life. It was really fun. So will you tell everybody how to find the Health and Fitness Expo and when it is? Tell us all the details about it.
You bet. It will be held at the Great Wolf Lodge in northern Colorado Springs on August 22nd and 23rd. You can find all the information, vendor opportunities, volunteers. We do need volunteers if you're willing to help us out. Sponsor opportunities, if you want to register for Colorado Strong competition, all that can be found on cosfitnessexpo.com. And then we have ticket prices. Like I mentioned, 100% of our ticket proceeds go to Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention. Actually rebranded, sorry, Suicide Prevention Partnership is the new name. Same organization. And we have general admissions, $10. We have discounts for first responders, military, seniors, and children under 17. And children under 10 are free. And this is an incredibly family-friendly event. But we will have, I think we have on our list 37 different speakers this year between the 2 days. We have workshops. We have three other panel discussions, including HRT, hormone replacement therapy, all the information you need to know about GLP-1 medications, should you be considering those, and a panel discussion on psychedelic medication in the treatment of mental health with some experts in that field. We have lots of other incredible speakers. We have a fashion, sorry, fitness fashion showcase happening on Saturday from 1 to 3. And then we have the Colorado Strong finals for all the divisions happening on Sunday.
Awesome. And I have one more question for you.
Yes.
I want you to tell everybody about the Vendor Success Studio that you have created.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things as a small business owner, which I think Colorado Springs is absolutely amazing for someone looking at beginning a small business. Um, I've been a vendor at several events since I've moved here, and it feels very transactional, and it feels very just superficial. They sell a booth and they give you the information on how to set up and when to set up, and that's about it. And once I became an event organizer of this scale and doing this, I recognized that a lot of the businesses that are attending our event are relatively new businesses. Maybe they've only been in business a year or two. And for a lot of them, I think 25% of the folks that we pulled for our vendor success studio, this is their first expo that they've ever done. And so if you just sell a business a table and market the event, get people in the door, that's great. But if that business doesn't understand on how to create relationships with our community and start that conversation, what does getting leads mean? What does following up with a lead mean? How do you talk about who you are as a brand? What do you stand for? What is your mission? What is your vision for your business? What is your passion behind the work that you do? Then we're really setting those businesses up for failure if they don't understand and know that and have some education or resources on how to actually do an incredible job at an expo and really get an ROI for their business. So last year, our expo started with a mentorship program. We didn't really have a name for it. We were just offering some tips and advice for business owners on how to make the most of their expo experience. And we had some very seasoned vendors that were on the call that offered some amazing um, just experiences and what to do and what not to do type of thing. We also were really big on making sure that our attendees felt like this was a relational event. We wanted, because it is a mental health platform and those connections that we talked about earlier, this is all about being seen and heard. This isn't about sales pitch after sales pitch after sales pitch as you walk down the aisle of tables. And so we wanted to make sure our vendors understood our mission and what we were trying to accomplish. And in doing that, give them some tools on how to start that conversation with somebody walking by your booth. Instead of telling them immediately what you do, just have a conversation and find out what they need. Because if you don't understand a need, you can't you may, if you don't understand the need, you may not even have the product or service that they need to fix that problem. So we tried to equip our vendors with some useful information and had a great feedback on that. And a lot of the vendors that attended that were really did have a successful expo week or day with us. That last year it was a 1-day event. This year we expanded on that and we brought in some partners to help us out. The Small Business Development Center in Colorado Springs, which is an award-winning small business development center, by the way, um, partnered with us for business compliance. So things like, what type of insurance do you need to carry? Do you need a special license to be able to do these types of sell these types of products? Do you have to have a sales tax license? What if you're a brick and mortar and you perform these services at your brick and mortar? Does your insurance cover you to do it off site at a different location? And so they were fantastic about educating our businesses on all those intricacies because no business is the same. Everybody does things a little different. And some of our business thought they were covered. And once they dug in a little deeper with the information that they were given, they realized, oh, yeah, we need to change a few things around. So that was fantastic. And our session number 2, as a small business owner, most of us, work within a very tight budget. We don't have, corporate funds coming in. And so marketing and branding and all of those things, think social media manager, think someone that's doing your email campaigns for you, or following up with the comments on your posts. Just making sure that your website and all of your messaging across all of your digital channels, your website, your social media, and everything is the same. You don't want to have one message here and a different message here because you're kind of discombobulated. So we had an AI branding expert come in and create AI brains for your AI, whatever platform you use, so that your brand messaging and your voice and your look is streamlined across all of your channels. And also the tools with that AI to automate processes, to create things for you, um, to really simplify your business. And just the AI tools that I learned from this company within 2 months of from start, I started 2 months prior, within 2 months of using all of these tools, I had gotten all of our email campaigns for the expo completely generated and scheduled. I had gotten all of our social media posts for everything scheduled and posted on our CRM that we use. And I had completely overhauled our website and completely rebranded everything, as well as made it 508 compliant, which means that a visually impaired person could still navigate our website with their tools that they use to read online services. And I saved the Colorado Springs Health and Fitness Expo about $15,000 by doing all of that. And it was so easy. I learned it very quickly and was able to accomplish that in less than 2 months. So we wanted to not just keep that all to ourselves. We wanted to pass that on to the businesses that we were working with, because if they're successful, then we're successful. And if we're successful, we can keep this event going. And then our final portion of that was just to give people fun ideas on how to set up a booth. Think about when you walk into a trade show or an expo, what booths do you tend to gravitate towards? And it's not always the booth that has, all the fun swag and squish balls and chip clips and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you're going to a booth for a different reason. And what does that look like? And so we were trying to give them really creative ideas and just tips to, you have all these leads, don't lose them, follow up with them and make sure you're having those conversations to really build those relationships. Because when you build a relationship with a client that knows you and trusts you and knows that you're going to do what you say you're going to do and be there for them, they'll be loyal. And that's some of the best leads you can ever have, but you have to follow up with them. So that was kind of the purpose of that. We're always stronger together. We need businesses to partner with one another and collaborate with one another. And this is a way that we can demonstrate that. We want to partner and collaborate with every business that comes to the expo. We're not a one and done. We want a long-term relationship with all of our businesses. We want them to be successful, and we're going to give you everything in our toolbox we can to make sure that that happens.
Yes, I agree. And I see how you've done that. And it's amazing because it's not, and this podcast isn't normally a business podcast, but I think it was important because of the content of the expo and what, how it ties into what we talk about here. And if people are interested in getting involved in it, either this year or next year or in the future, whether it's the Colorado Strong competition or whether it's as a vendor or a sponsor or whatever it is, I think it was important for us to explain what all you've created around it so people understand. So thank you for.
Yeah, I think it's important too that we can support each other as business owners. We go through a lot of mental health struggles and just doing everything. We're it for a lot of businesses. We are everything. We are, we're doing the books, we're doing the this, we're doing the networking, we're doing all the things, and that's overwhelming. That is just simply overwhelming. I talk to business owners and they work 68-hour weeks, and I'm like, that's not okay. So that's not good for anyone. But you can't let your business fail. So if we can provide tools and resources for our businesses to stand in confidence when they come to the expo, to know that they have these free, simple tools that we provided them, they're going to save them tens of thousands of dollars. And I think I saved myself, when I calculated it, 200 hours of time in 2 months. I don't even know if 200 hours equates to 2 months, but that's how much time that I saved, with these tools. And why wouldn't I want to help somebody else? Why wouldn't I want to support another business? And if businesses can come together and support one another, especially in our mental health, then we can support our community better with the services and products that we provide as well. So I think it's just a trickle down effect, and it is business, yes, but it still is community. It is still storytelling. Every business owner has a story. They started their business because of some need that they found. And there's usually a need because something needed to be fixed. So
yeah, agreed.
I think it all trickles down. I think it all comes together in the end. And I think it's really cool, the businesses that have decided to partner with us. So.
Yes, I do too. Well, thank you again for being here. And if you're interested, again, look up Colorado Springs Health and Fitness Expo, and you can find the website and find all kinds of information. And we hope to see you at the Great Wolf Lodge. It's August 22nd and 23rd of 2026, just in case when you listen to this, so you know what year it is. But thank you so much, Sandi.
Thanks, Deana.
I'm so happy you joined us for this conversation. My wish is that you found comfort and hope in your own unique situation. If you resonated with our message, please head over to therealizefoundation.org, where you can apply to write your own story in one of our books. You can also download our 60 Ideas for Self-Care on the resources page. I can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, you are not alone, you are worthy, and you are enough.